You just got Madden 24 and you're ready to start your MUT journey. You don't have a lot of money to spend, but you want to build the best team possible. Don't worry, I have your back. I've been a no money spent player for years using this secret recipe to build my top 100 MUT Champs teams. All right, for this exercise, we're going to use a tier maker using 5 different categories. The 5 categories are mega bucks, which I would consider to be the most important positions in MUT and where you should focus most of your coins. The next tier is size and speed. Essentially, you're just looking for the fastest and the biggest players at this position for the cheapest price. B&Ds, these are players that when you get an opportunity to get a player locked item that you're not able to sell, you go ahead and pick these players. Other we'll get into, they're kind of more unique positions that require a certain set of skills to be successful. And one final category, who cares? Basically, don't worry about this position at all. It's not really relevant. So starting off with DBs, we're going to go ahead and put them in size and speed. Now, this could be a mega buck category. As players become better in the game, they'll get better abilities. And having good abilities at defensive back is actually hugely important. Things like pick artist, inside shade, the KOs, they're pretty important. But day one, I would say that this is a size and speed position. If you do have extra coins left over, go ahead and consider this one to be at the top of size and speed where it could be mega bucks. All right, the next position is defensive end, and this one is pretty interesting. So we're going to put this in the other category. Now, the reason why I put this in other is you want the high power and finesse move, but you also want to take a look at their traits. You want to make sure that the one that they're good at is a yes for trait, and the one that they're less good at is a no. Their traits will dictate which ones the CPU tries to do, so having the high stat with the trait is an important combination to look for. Defensive tackle, we're going to go with size and speed. Now, namely the size portion, just get a thick boy, someone that weighs a lot of weight, someone that's strong to stuff the middle on run games. Typically, size is a really good day one thing to look for a defensive tackle. Speed, less important, but it's basically physical traits here, and we definitely think that defensive tackle needs those. Running back, we're going to go ahead and put that also in size and speed. Early on, running backs don't get that important of abilities, and you really just want a guy that can move and a guy that can fall forward for you, but not a lot else. There's not a lot of differential between running backs. You do want to make sure that they don't fumble, so if they do have protect the ball, you take a look at their trait for fumbling, be something to look for, but otherwise, we're just really looking for size and speed here. Kicker, a little bit up from who cares. We're going to put that in other. Just look for kick power. Field goals are very easy to make in Madden. Just go ahead and get a kicker that can make it from distance. It will help you get 3 points in drives that you might otherwise not get any points. Middle linebackers, pretty simple. If they don't jump, we don't buy them. If it plays like the beta, middle linebackers are obsolete. You're going to be playing safeties at linebacker 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10. There are who cares. You're not going to spend any sort of resources, not even a BND on this guy starting off. So middle linebacker, a who cares category. Offensive line, this one is one that I'm pretty passionate about. BND. Anytime you have an opportunity to get a BND offensive lineman that's anywhere near the top at their position, take it. They have by far the best shelf life in the game because they don't get cards very often, and there's no personal preference when it comes to which offensive lineman to use. So do yourself a favor, take the BND offensive lineman. Your future self will thank you because they release wide receivers, corners, running backs all the time. Offensive line is a sure bet. It is absolutely the best way to use a B&D when you have the opportunity. So lock that in right now. Punter is a who cares. I would actually put it in front of middle linebacker. I think you have a better odds of punting the ball than using a middle linebacker. So we'll put it above middle linebacker. But again, this is Madden. You know, if you do need a punter, just go ahead and do like your team chemistry or something like that, your theme team. But other than that, punters, not super important. Moving on to quarterback. Now, do you guys remember at the beginning of Madden 23 who literally every single pro used in the MCS ladders? I'll give you a minute. Did you guess it? It was Aaron Rodgers. And why did we use Aaron Rodgers? Well, for one, there was no set feet leads out at the time, which is the best ability for a quarterback. It's the one essential one to beat zone coverages specifically, because with that extra passing velocity, corners just don't have time to react to the ball. But he had the fastest release in the game, which day one Madden is basically send 6 with a hover in man coverage and just scream all day long, because the wide receivers just aren't very good. It's hard to beat man coverage. You really need that quick release to even give yourself a chance at beating send heavy pressure cover 0. So quarterbacks, you want to save your coins for this position, because as soon as there's a set feet lead, you want that ability. You want a good release. Spend the money, get yourself a quarterback. Avoid BNDs like the plague at this position, because you need the top tier quarterback. Their abilities and their release are very important. Quarterback runs in the beginning of the beta were really good. So I do think that that's going to be another dimension that we have this year as opposed to last year's quarterback speed being more important. Definitely something you want to spend your money on. All right, so safeties. Safeties are one where we're going to put in size and speed to start, because we need them to be able to move around the field. You're going to be playing a lot of safeties because we're not using linebackers, remember, because they can jump. They do get decent abilities. They're much like defensive backs. Once they start getting good abilities, you'll want to spend big bucks on them. But day one, it's not super important to have the best core elites. Wait for like the first program or two where they start getting the tier 3 abilities. I mean, that kind of is an overarching thing. Once players start getting impactful abilities, use your coins to get abilities, because generally they're what wins and loses a game as opposed to speed. But day one, go ahead and get, your fastest bang for your buck size safeties out there. That will be a big help to you. So tight end, I'm going to put in other, and I'm going to put it at the top of other. Day one, do not get any core elite tight ends. They're all too slow, and they just don't have good stats, and they're not going to get good abilities. Wait for the first, second, or third program where there's a really fast tight end that honestly is better than the day one Travis Kelce. Now, wide receiver is going to be my mega bucks number 2. You're going to see a ton of man coverage at the beginning of Madden 24. It just happens every year. Man blitzing. It's hard to beat it when you don't have good receivers and there's no like passing abilities. Like Fearless isn't in the game. All your turns from man blitzing aren't available yet. So beating man becomes very important. There's something about wide receivers that supersedes both size and speed, and that is short and elite. Honestly, a 80 speed wide receiver, even though that's really slow, with a short and elite ability, will be able to beat man coverage. So you definitely want to make sure that as soon as a wide receiver comes out that has short and elite, you're able to afford it. So that's where I would put most of my coins day one. Get yourself a quarterback that is the meta, and get yourself a wide receiver that can beat man coverage. Everything else is secondary. Definitely get some speed at your speed and size at the necessary positions. Offensive line, repeat after me. I will get a BND offensive lineman when available, and you'll thank yourself later. Other tight end, we're holding off until a program tight end comes out that's pretty fast. Defensive end, we want to pair our traits to our stats, making sure that they're in alignment. Kicker, we want some kick power. Punter, we're not punting, we're going for it. Middle linebackers, still can't jump, not interested. Good luck building your team, and I'll see you guys in the next video.